The first thing that we're going to do is whip up the egg whites. I always do this first because if you try to whip up egg whites in a bowl that's a little bit dirty, it will not work right. So I'm going to start off with my whisk attachment, and I'm going to pour in 5 egg whites. And I'll just let these beat here with the whisk attachment for several minutes until they're really light and fluffy. Okay, these are about halfway done. Now I'm going to gradually add in a 1/4 cup of sugar and let it continue to mix. Okay, those look perfect, so now I'm going to transfer the egg whites into a separate bowl. And I'm finished with the whisk attachment. I'm not even going to bother cleaning this out. I got most of that egg white out, and it's totally fine that some stays in there. Now I'm going to switch to my paddle attachment. And to this I'm going to add the 5 egg yolks and 3/4 cup of sugar. And I'll just let this mix here for several minutes until it looks like a really pale yellow color. Okay, I changed my mind. I want to use the whisk attachment for this part just so it helps them get really light and fluffy. And then after we're done with the egg yolks, when it's time to add like the flour and everything, we'll switch to the paddle attachment. Okay, that took maybe 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes, and you can see how that kind of falls on a ribbon when I do that. That's what you're looking for. Now I'll just take a second to use my spatula and just scrape the bottom and the sides to make sure everything's nice and incorporated. Okay, now I really am going to switch to this for good now, and I'll add in a 1/3 cup of whole milk and a splash of vanilla. Okay, I've got 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and to that I'm going to add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. And I'll just briefly mix that together. Now I'll pour that in. And I'll let this go for maybe 10 or 15 seconds just until it's combined. Now I'll take this off, and the last step before it goes in the oven is to add the egg whites back in here, and I'm gonna mix that by hand. I'll start by adding like maybe, I don't know, that much, a little bit of this to the batter just to kind of loosen it up. Then I'll slowly add in the rest and fold it together really gently because we don't want to deflate the egg whites, because then that would have defeated the purpose of us whipping them up to begin with. Okay, this looks perfect, so now let's go ahead and put it in our baking dish. I'm using a 9 by 13 inch casserole dish, and I sprayed it with some nonstick cooking spray. So now I'll just pour this all in. This is ready for the oven. It's going to bake at 350 for about 25 to 35 minutes. All right, here's my cake. It has been cooling for about 15 minutes now, so it's still really warm. I'm gonna let it sit here a few more minutes, and then we will move on to the next step. This is what we're having for our Easter dinner tonight. This is Zach's Boston butt that he makes in the crock pot. And if you're interested in that recipe, I'll have a video linked below where he shows you how to make it. It is so good. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, my cake is almost completely cooled off, so now I'm going to take a fork and just poke holes in it, and you can see it kind of looks messy, so I'm going to try my best to not make huge holes. I might actually get a toothpick in a minute and do it with a toothpick because I don't want it to have like big holes. See? Okay, I ended up getting a toothpick, and it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I'm just going to poke holes all over it. I have a large measuring cup, and to that I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of whole milk. 1 can of evaporated milk, and 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. And now we're going to pour this mixture slowly all over the top of the cake.
Good job.
I thought it said 44.
He can't really
Only
say
one
it the
that
right
way.
way.
You have 6.
Katie Jane got 5.
She got 5. Let's see what's in here. We're not eating it all right now, though, okay? Because you just ate a Tootsie Roll.
Hey, just so you know, most of those probably have nothing inside.
Mama, we can eat that.
No, why you eat it?
No,
Hey, Green
no,
Bean.
I got one.
Okay, thank you.
And then like one
What?
other thing.
It's so
Like,
pretty.
I can easily get 3
Look.
or 4% on restaurants.
What do you think about this?
Gas stations and all that.
I'm gonna get you.